Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Annalie, and in today's video, I have 3 DIYs for you that I think you're gonna love. So let's get right into it. So for this first DIY, I am using these 4 trays that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree. They are $1 a piece, so far this project is about $4. And as you guys have seen in some of my videos, I really like to do a lot of my DIYs outside, mostly because I don't really have a craft room, but I feel like I can use all of my tools and stuff out there. So for this particular day, I was outside and I wanted to go over into the shade, into the grass where it was a little bit cooler, and it was actually really nice. Really nice day. I'm telling you this because you're going to see what happened to us. So we got started. This is my little helper. My little girl is helping me again in this DIY. So the first thing we want to do is use some of this cream wax that I've purchased from Home Depot, I want to say. I've had it for a while. And we're going to go ahead and get these painted. One thing I completely forgot once I moved over and started working on the grass is that my husband has a sprinkler system that is on a timer and turns on automatically on its own. Totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about the sprinklers, but it all ended up working out in the end. Oh. Run. Ah! Hang on, I gotta get the camera out of here. Okay, run. Go. Go away. Okay, step aside. Let's get it. Okay, so after that fiasco, our table was soaking wet. So we ended up moving over into the driveway, which is where I usually do most of my DIYs outside. And we ended up using this table, and here we are back at it, getting these painted or stained. I don't know what you call it when you use wax, if it's just painting it, because it's not really paint and it's not really stain, but we are using paint brushes, so I will say that we are painting the wax on. We are waxing these boards. We're waxing the trays. I don't think that works either. So we're just gonna go with it. Once the trays are all waxed in this beautiful stain color, I took them inside so that I could finish working because I of course lost all my light, and I ended up using my Silhouette cutting machine to cut out these words that I have right here that you guys can see that I'm putting on. I did have somebody ask me what kind of Silhouette I have. I believe I have the Silhouette Cameo 2. I might even have the original Silhouette Cameo. It's a dinosaur, but it is hardy. You guys, I have nothing but good to say about the Silhouette cutting machines because mine works amazing, and I have only had to change the blade out. Like, they work amazing. I love them. So anyways, I wanted to put the words on the inside of these trays. You guys will see why I wanted to put the words inside of these trays as I get this assembled, but I have a different word for, well, I have 4 words for 4 trays. 2 of the words are the same because I want to have 2 chocolate trays because I have different types of chocolate. And then you guys will see that I am putting the words mallows and grams in these trays. And I think by now you guys have figured out that this is going to be a little s'mores tray. On the front of the tray, I am putting on the word smorgasbord. I actually Googled this for you guys. It is a Swedish term, and it means a buffet offering a variety of hot and cold meats, salads, hors d'oeuvres, etc. A wide range of something, or a variety. So this is exactly what this is. This is just a s'mores variety, and I thought that it was a really cute play on words to do a smorgasbord. So it's pretty much spelled the way that I put it on there, only with the E, and so I actually put the s'more in cursive and then the word gasbord, the rest of it, into a different font so that you guys could see the play on words. I thought it was super clever, and I am obsessed with it. I think it is so fun. So once that was all done, then it was time to assemble the wood pieces together. So I used some hot glue and some Gorilla Glue to glue these all together. And then to get these to stay, I ended up using these clamps that you guys can get from the Dollar Tree right now. The Dollar Tree. I ended up getting these clamps that you can get from the Dollar Tree right now to hold all of this together. And I did let it dry overnight because I really am going to be using this. And so I want it to be very hardy and stand up and hold everything that I need. While that was drying, I wanted to have some handles for the tray so that I could carry it out. So using some of this nautical rope that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree, which I actually already had this on hand, which was awesome, and I only used a little bit. So that whole rope is $1, and I only used 2 little pieces, so that wasn't even $1 for the rope. We could say like maybe 15 cents for each piece of rope. But I tied knots on the rope, and then I ended up just sliding them in to the holes that are already in the tray so that I could have these little handles. Once that was dry, I also didn't want the rope to be moving around, so I ended up gluing those knots in place so that everything stayed and was really sturdy. And then I wanted some finishing touches, and I just wanted to kind of make it look a little bit more rustic, so I used some sandpaper to rough up the edges like you guys can see here, and it was the perfect touch. It was exactly what it needed, and I love how it turned out. The inspiration for this s'more tray was actually from many YouTubers. I have seen many YouTubers make something like this. I think they actually made it at the beginning of the summer. I know that it's the end of the summer, but I received information from several of them, so I decided that it was time to make one for myself, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm happy to report that it was a hit. Definitely a hit with the family, especially my kids. They loved it. Okay, so this is an 8-foot piece of trim that we just picked up from Home Depot. Very inexpensive when you buy just one of them. It was like $4 for the whole piece. And we used our table saw to just measure the width of it and cut it exactly in half. So we just ripped it so that I had 2 pieces. I wanted them a little bit thinner. Also, this piece right here is a piece of scrap wood that my husband had left over from our remodel. He is currently remodeling our bathrooms, and so this was some wood that was left over. I usually just follow him around. I told you guys that I just follow him around and I'm like a little scavenger, and I just pick up his scraps that he leaves behind. And so this was the perfect piece of wood, already ready to go. And so it measures 12 inches tall by 24 inches wide. So I went ahead and I found the middle of the board and I measured it, and then from the top parts I actually used this little, I guess a ruler, this piece of wood is a ruler, to help me measure from the center down. So I measured 1.5 inches down on the sides from the middle, and you guys will see what I will be doing with this. Once everything is measured, I go ahead and I use my jigsaw to get that cut off, just because I felt like I would have a little bit more control to cut the length that it was at the angle that I needed it, that I had just measured, that you guys can see. Once everything was cut, then it was time to measure my trim pieces that I ripped in half. So I went ahead and I just went from the middle, and you can see that I'm just measuring down the angle. I wanted a little bit of hangover. This is actually going to be like a little roof over a house shaped sign. And so I'm making my own. It is fairly large because I want it to be large. I actually saw this particular piece in someone's home, and so that's where the inspiration from this came from. And so I wanted to recreate it myself. So here is also a smaller piece of wood. This is a 1 by 6 inch size wood, also left over from the remodel of our bathroom. And this one I just went down 1 inch on the sides from the center of the board and used my jigsaw to cut those angled pieces off the top. Once that was all done, I got everything sanded so that it was smooth, and then I glued these 2 top pieces to the top of the board, as you can see, with some Gorilla Glue and some hot glue, so that it would form this roof of my house. And then I wanted to paint this sign, and so this actually just completely worked out for me. It was awesome because I didn't know if it was going to or not. I just poured some white paint on there, added a smidgen of ink chalk paint to the white because I don't have any other colors besides white and black. So I wanted that steel color that you can get in the Waverly chalk paint. I think it's called steel, that steel gray. And so I kind of just made my own, and I just mixed it up right on the board, hoping that it would work out, and it worked out perfectly, you guys. It worked out perfectly. I had just the perfect amount of paint, and it blended well. I love how there's like some streaks of white throughout it. It turned out perfectly, so I love it. Once everything was painted and glued on, I set that aside to let that dry overnight. I wanted the paint and the glue to be perfectly dried and ready. And then for that roof piece, it already came white because it was primed, but I wanted it to be just a little bit whiter with paint. So I used some white chalk paint and I just painted that white. Once the chalk paint was dry, I wanted to sand it off for a smooth finish and also to kind of rough up the edges. So I got everything sanded. You can see some of that white came through and I actually love it. I love that it just looks like some giant blemish right in the middle of the wood. It worked out perfectly. So here you can see that I'm measuring the two sides. What I'm doing for this is it's already cut. I'm not really cutting anything else down, but I started from the bottom and I measured in 2-inch increments. I'm going to be putting some vinyl lettering on here. And so I wanted to create some straight lines so that it could be like a lined piece of paper so that I could put my words on straight. So I used this chalk line to measure and I just went from line to line so that I could have straight lines, and then my husband just helped me snap a chalk line. And then using some more vinyl from my Silhouette cutting machine, I just went in and I actually looked up and remembered the fonts for you guys. I hope you guys are so proud of me because I am terrible at remembering stuff like that or telling you guys stuff like that. And then you asked me in the comments, which is wonderful. And then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, crap. So I know what this font is for you guys. So the font that's on there right now, the white font that's straight and not cursive, is a font called Metabolism. That is so weird. It is literally called like Metabolism. I just got it from the Silhouette studio, the design studio in the store. It's like Metabolism or something. I'm pretty sure it's just Metabolism. I wrote it down. And then I put that on there. And then I didn't have any black vinyl. And I thought this was really cool because I know you guys have seen this, but it's just so I used my Silhouette cutting machine to cut out the word stories in a bigger size. This is in the font called Blossom Script, I believe is what it is. I also just got that from the Silhouette design store. And I cut out the word stories, and I'm just gonna use it as a stencil. Instead of using black vinyl, I just used black paint. So I put this on. I actually saw this saying somewhere. This isn't the exact saying that was saying. This wasn't the exact saying that was on the original project where I saw the house. It was actually the words "gather together," but I just did a project with a sign that had some lattice work in it, and I put "gather together" on there. So I didn't want to have two signs that said "gather together." So I went ahead and I put this little saying on there. I don't remember where I saw this, so I would love to give some credit. If you guys know where this little saying comes from, please leave a comment down below and let me know, because I would love to give credit where credit is due. But I love what this says. So it's going to end up saying, if these walls could talk, oh, the stories they would tell. And I love that it's in the shape of a house, because I feel like every house, if they could talk, would totally tell our story, right? I mean, that's what we're doing, is telling our story. But I love that the walls of our home see everything. They see us raising our babies, they see us growing, they see us changing, they see our hardships, they see our happiness, they see everything. So I just thought that this little saying was perfect, and it's in the shape of a house. So I love it. Then came the distressing, because you guys know that I love to distress and embellish everything. So I'm actually really shocked that I didn't put a bow on this, because I love to embellish with everything. Oh, you know what? It might need some greenery. I might go back and put some greenery on this, you guys. But anyways, I did do some distressing where I just used some of that wax and I just put it on the white part of the roof. And I love how it turned out. So here's the smaller one you guys saw that I cut. I painted this one white all over, and I skipped that step because I know you guys have seen me already painting, but I went ahead and I painted it white, I let it dry, and then I sanded it down, and you can see that the sanding just created this beautiful distressed look. Once again, I wanted some black, but I don't have any black vinyl yet. I have to go get some more. I just ran out. And so using my pink vinyl, I created this stencil and I put this on, and it says "Our Home." So once I got that scraped on, again using the sponge and some black chalk paint, I went ahead and I just dabbed this all over in place and peeled it off. Such a simple, quick, easy project. And to me, these projects were each under $5 because I ended up buying that piece of trim from Home Depot for $4 and I didn't even use it all. I have so many of these that I can make, and so I didn't use them all. And then the wood was free, but the wood is not, it's pretty inexpensive if you're buying one piece at a time from Home Depot. It's really inexpensive. So, and then I had everything else on hand. So the paint, everything like that. So this whole project was less than $5. And then again, the distressing, I just used some of that wax cream and I just distressed the roof. I distressed the roof piece and a little bit around the edges. And here it is all set up. And I love how different this is. It's much smaller. It's white instead of gray. This says something completely different. Oh, and this is also in the font Blossom Script. Like I said, I purchased that from the Silhouette Design Studio, and so I just used that to match the word that I used on the other sign for stories. But here it is, just says our home, just a little home sign. This is a much, the dimensions for this wood is about 6 inches tall by this one I believe is 10 inches wide. The other thing you could do with these pieces is you could put some string on the back, or you could hang a little sawtooth hanger on them, and you could hang these on your wall. And so these could go next to like family pictures or anything like that, or they could just be set up somewhere in your home. Super versatile. I love them. And you guys could put whatever saying you want on these signs. You can see that gray. I didn't actually film it, but I went back in after I distressed the white. I wanted the gray to be just a little bit more distressed, and so I ran some of that cream wax over the gray just a little bit. I felt like it was a little heavy-handed, so I went in and I sanded some of that off, but I do love the distressed look. How they turn out. I hope you guys enjoyed these projects. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and watching and supporting my channel. Please leave a comment down below, like this video, and subscribe if you guys would like to see more just like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys. Whew. Did you get wet?
Yeah.
Wow, let's see.
Beginner.
What?
I just did in bigger and I read cold.
Really? You just got in the sprinkler?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of soaked you, huh?
Yeah.
Mom kind of left you to fend for yourself because I had to save the camera, huh?
See, Grandma.
Yeah. You understand though, right?
I know. I just searched. I just that's my feet.
Yeah.
I hurt my leg.
You did? They're all wet, huh? Thanks for being my best big helper. Can I have Knuckles?
I frying my marshmallow and I blew it.
You what?
I put on fire.
You burnt your marshmallow?
Yeah.
And then you blew it?
Yeah.
You blew the fire out? Good job.